Welcome back, people. How you all doing? I hope you're enjoying your day. Right, why are UK Pints bigger extended edition? I read in the comments that there's all reasons behind why something to do with the water back in the day, carbonate. I can't remember what he said, but some water was heavier than others. I don't know. That's what I read in the comments. I don't know if that was right or not, but I'm gonna check this out. Right, it's Mid-Earth Som. I'll give it a subscribe and I'll give it a like. Yeah, I swear I read in the comments it was something to do with, I don't know if it said carbonated water, but I don't know how carbonated water could make anything lighter or heavier. I don't know. I suppose it could make it heavier. I don't know. I really don't know. But I read it in the comments and it baffled me a bit. So here we are.
So I was totally wrong about how much hobbits drank.
Oh, bits? Oh, he said Brits. I thought he said I was so... I thought he said I was so wrong about how much hobbits drink.
Totally wrong about how much hobbits drank. They drank so much more.
Not a drop
Hi, I'm
anymore.
Harrison. I'm a certified sommelier, huge fan of all things Tolkien, and your Mid-Earth Som. So in a video we just put out trying to pin down just how drunk an average pint of ale would get a hobbit, I came to
He's saying hobbits, isn't he?
for every 1.5 pints a hobbit drank, it would be the equivalent of a non-halfling drinking a 40.
I thought it was just the way he was saying how much our Brits drink, but he's saying hobbits.
So basically just over half as much. But, as some of you pointed out, pints in the UK and the US are totally different. This is important to note because Tolkien was a British citizen, and thus his understanding of the word pint would reflect the amount served in his local pubs, not what we see in the United States. So...
Oh, right, so Tolkien's the person behind Lord of the Rings and all that. I've never seen anything to do with that, so I didn't get any references at all.
In the US, a standard pint is 16 ounces, or 473 milliliters. In the UK, a standard pint is 20 ounces, or 568 milliliters. So, if we go back to our handy-dandy BAC calculator, and we average out the blood alcohol content, one British pint would give an average hobbit at 3 foot 6 inches and 108.9 pounds, we get 0.07. So in other words, just under the legal limit for intoxication. Now, to get the same level of intoxication for an average big folk person, who we calculated would be 5 feet 5 inches and 172.9 pounds, they would have to drink 32 ounces of the same brew. So basically an imperial pint plus a standard bottle of the same ale. So yeah, an imperial pint would still just royally fuck up a hobbit. Even more so than we originally thought. So why are American pints
This
and
is a
British
bit I
pints
want to know.
different? Short answer, the Romans. I thought about the Roman Empire. Fuck, I forgot about Dre. I lost the game. Long answer, the British Isles have been invaded. A lot. And those occupations left a
One or
lot
two
of different
times.
units of measurement behind. Following the Norman invasion, what became the English Empire slowly but surely fine-tuned its system of measurements from sources as diverse as 1,000 Roman strides, 1 mile, the weight of a Saxon penny, what we now call a Troy ounce, 3 barley corns, or 1 inch, and the
I knew
size
the
of a
barley
forward
corn
plow
thing.
in a day. 1
Didn't know
acre.
the others.
Of course, over the centuries, there were many audits and changes that were just as arbitrary. I simply do not have the time to get into here. But basically, the US, as a British colony, used their system of reckoning measurements until 1832, when it split into a system called customary units. The British formalized their units of measurement as the imperial system of units in the Weights and Measures Act of 1824, and later amended that in the Weights and Measures Act of 1832, 78, 97, 63, 1963, and 1985. Now, despite well-meaning attempts to standardize units of measurement, the UK and the US weren't able to formally align their definition of a pound and a yard until 1960.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. This in turn led to 2 different systems of linear measurement in the US, the international system and the surveyor's system, until 2023. Double Jesus, double Christ. Before the split, a gallon was originally the volume of 8 pounds of wheat, and there were a bunch of different gallons recognized in the British Empire for different substances, including a wine gallon and a beer gallon, all with different volume. Now, the newly established British imperial ounce chose to just discard all those other gallons floating around in use and standardize their gallon as the volume of 10 pounds of distilled water at a set temperature and pressure. The U.S.
Yeah, that's what I was reading. Distilled water, not carbonated. I knew it was something to do with the water.
Customary system, however.
So yeah, whoever put that in the comments, thank you, because it seems like you was right, obviously. Otherwise you wouldn't have put it, would you? Mind you saying that, people put wrong stuff in comments all the time. Not my comments, I'm on about comments in general. You lot are always right in my comments. You help me out a hell of a lot.
Continued to reckon its ounce based on the volume of 1 pounds of distilled water at a set temperature and pressure. The U.S. customary system, however, continued to reckon its ounce based on the volume of a wine gallon. Alcohol is less dense than water, so a U.S. fluid ounce is approximately 1.04 of an imperial ounce, giving us a pint that is 20 ounces in the UK versus the standard U.S. 16-ounce pint. Now look, that was a super quick overview, so...
I get the density and the volume of different liquids and stuff like that.
So, imperial ounce, giving us a...
I get it, but it's because nations never normally decide on the same thing together and have a universal thing. But I'm still a little bit confused on it.
Pint that is 20 ounces in the UK versus the standard US 16-ounce pint. Now look, that was a super quick overview.
I get all that bit.
My apologies for any fans of the avoir du poids or metric system.
What was that? I didn't get... You must be talking another language.
But to be honest, the history of weights and measurements is a bit like Gandalf's fall off the Bridge of Cosmos.
It is crazy, isn't it?
Dark, endless, and just completely fucking arbitrary.
It is. It's loads of mistakes and all sorts, isn't it? I don't know if it's kilogram weights. Apparently, they made a mistake with that. But the first no, it was a yard. The diesel came from the yard. He made a mistake or something, and the yard's not really a yard of where the yard is. I do not know, but it is all arbitrary, as you said. It's mental. Have you done? I've never seen any of them. Never seen any of the Lord of the Rings. What's that? Jesus Christ. I've never seen any of them. There's loads of things that I haven't seen that are supposed to be really good. But anyway, right, yeah, if you enjoyed that, you can Google if you want to. I do want to watch another one that goes into it a little bit more length about it. I don't know why we're all so different about that, but anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one. Bye bye. Bye.